Blaziken and Phalanx, two all-rounders that we have actually seen banned quite a lot yesterday.
Okay, and interesting priority on this Mimikyu here from Yalla Bingo. Really great protection for this Cramorant as well. With an Umbreon in the pocket at two on top of that, Yalla Bingo is building a really interesting team fight composition.
And even Mimikyu's Unite move, a great choice. Any sus, bringing out the Absol once again. And I guess because L Premium Pro's Cramorant has been taken away, they're going to lock in that Sylveon choice this time round. However, Mew, we get another Mew match this time round. What are your thoughts, I guess, in terms of Mew in the current meta?
I think Mew just plays to a really slippery attacker main. He really shows and shines to Mews who are really mobile on the battlefield with the uses of coaching and surf. I believe those two moves are really just what make Mew main shine, not just clicking E-ball 8 million times. But it's going to be very interesting to watch this Absol try to engage on this backline that Yalla Bingo has brought out. Very Cramorant and you, like I said, very slippery characters. Possibly followed by this Aegislash as well. So Anteiku gonna definitely need to reach really deep into Yalla Bingo's pockets to try to get some knockouts.
Oh, 100%. The thing is, Eternal on that Eldegoss is going to potentially have a hard trouble going into the sustain that Blissey is able to provide. I feel like in terms of Eldegoss as a supporter, it's not picked up as often. So really interesting to see that this was actually favored in comparison to a Hooper. But I guess it's the plus movement, the Pollen Puff plus that you do end up getting towards the end. If they're able to latch that either onto that Mimikyu or even that Umbreon for that damage reduction, that can actually make a huge difference come those final fights.
hmm And it's going to be interesting to see what moveset the Sylveon prioritizes. Hyper Voice is going to be, once again, very difficult to hit on these very mobile characters. And I feel like
Mm.
Mimikyu is going to have plenty of opportunity to shine here and have plenty of targets to play with in that Unite move. So, also with the Eldegoss pick, I do believe it is going to be prioritizing sticking around that Cramorant and that Mew to cover for Cotton Guard and any other dive that Anteiku can try to provide.
Yeah, 100%. But folks, we are here for the second set of the day. Yala Bingo, your purple side team, and Teku on the orange once again. So up into the top path, paired up with that Chansey. So they are going to send in that Hone Edge into that central area, looking for that level 5. However, we do have a split central area between Yala Bingo here. Cramorant having that red buff and going to look at creating some pressure with those Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's also shut down this Absol early, allowing Mimikyu to also land some nice stacks as well. And even though the Sylveon has leveled up, they're still sitting on that Slowpoke. Umbreon not evolved in the bottom lane either. So things pretty even down there. But checking in on this top side where things are going to get a little bit more dynamic once these birds spawn. Potato has clicked into level 5, so having that access to that move and that Shadow Claw is going to matter. But Blissey with the boosted auto gets some nice secures in. Everybody low HP bars on Anteiku, and Yalla Bingo's looking for the confirms. Potato finds one, but the rest of Anteiku gets safely back.
This is interesting that Potato Uwu has actually opted for that Shadow Claw instead of the Clay Rough moveset, which we have actually seen today. So I guess just looking for a little bit more sustainability over on their side. However, not enough sustain considering they did end up getting taken down along with the Cramorant to that Doublade. So going to give some levels there, 22-0. So I mean, I guess the benefit here for Anteiku is they actually don't have any players using stacking items. Actually, I am stand corrected. Blissey is running special attack specs.
Yeah, Blissey is going to be running those stacking specs to just get a little bit more healing, and it's definitely going to need to really keep this Absol and this Aegislash nice and healthy as they're trying to dive through this backline, because they're going to, like I said earlier, have a really hard time reaching the slippery slopes of this Mew and this Cramorant in later fights. But down on the bottom side, it does look like Anteiku is pushing the tier 1 here. Some big points dropped in. That's going to get them some nice leads. Anteiku already almost level 8 on this Aegislash. Going to be looking at 9 by the time objective spawn.
Oh, but look at this. Potato Uwu was able to take down that Blissey, go and empty out their Eos energy, and go and get into attack weight stacks of their own. Anysus looks to be caught in a bit of a pickle here, utilizing that Flux Zone. That way they can't end up getting takedown. However, they ended up diving back on into danger there. And that does mean the consequence is getting sent back to the Pokemon Center.
Yeah, Yalla Bingo is taking really big value in this top side while Anteiku is controlling the bottom side of the map. They're going to go ahead and rip this Regice really quickly just to get it out of the way, but whatever Anteiku does after this will be interesting to see because that Aegislash is very close to level 9 and that Sylveon does have access to the Fairy Falls, and this is a tier 1 cap that is looking to be freshly broken. But it does look like Yalla Bingo's nice and spread out. They're going to choose the 19 gold overbreak with 12.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess in terms of Overdunks, probably not the greatest one, but I guess they just want to try and get that push and get some momentum towards Tier 2 because Anteiku's top Tier 2 pad is under threat by this Mimikyu who has just gone and taken down those members and is able to go and get in some dunks of their own. Not a lot of points going in from Anteiku here, considering that is left on 91 out of 100, so only 9 points. I don't know if the trade was worth it there, Ribbon.
Yeah, it does look like Anteiku definitely got a little bit more out of that than Yalla Bingo did, even though they got that tier 1 and they're getting plenty of knockouts in this bottom side. And if it wasn't for some very close saves right there from Yalla Bingo, that tier 2 could possibly be gone as well. They clean up Potato in the mid lane as well, so Potato with that high XP value is going to give Anteiku even more experience to snowball with here.
Look, I wouldn't really consider Absol to be much of a front laner here. The aggression they are showing into that Flux Zone while some members are trying to get in some dunks of their own. Umbreon is straight on their tail, able to knock it back with their back feet. 16 points. However, we are able to get in 7 and 13 from that Sylveon, so that top tier 1 pad is Dunsky's, and Anteiku now have the lead. There's only a 10 point difference at this halfway mark.
Yeah, just 10 points ahead, but Anteiku ahead in the levels, much so. That Absol going from level 9 to level 11 in almost a minute, finding 2 kills on Potato that are vital to scaling this Absol, now having access to its Pursuit Plus, so it's going to be doing more damage when it slams down on that backside. And then keeping scaling on this sword as well. And Anteiku just needs to play front to back and keep things nice and going and try not to give Yalla Bingo any sort of catch-up XP.
Regirock is on the clock. They are already at a quarter HP. There is no time for Anteiku to try and get the secure there, as we do have Blissey attempting the Egg Bomb. However, Cramorant Unite is going to come on out to try and chip away a lot of damage from Anteiku, but we have Umbreon, their front line, going on down. Sylveon on the opposite side also going down, and Anteiku are fighting on back and able to successfully defend their tier 1 pad once again.
Oh, wow. You're just looking and showing and seeing how big Absol is in the meta right now. It's going to be able to slide around, and thankfully the Umbreon is going to be able to find the knockout in return. But Absol just hopping around the entirety of Yalla Bingo right now. Without a lack of a front line from this roster on the blue side, Absol's just able to walk in freely unless that Mimikyu there to stop them.
The fact that they were able to pick up 4 KOs there is massive. However, they did end up pretty much trading it all back, considering they ended up getting KO'd themselves. Otherwise, we do have a little bit of a scuffle up in the top part. 2 members of Yalla Bingo are down. However, Mimikyu is able to get some revenge on their fellow Ghost counterpart on that Aegislash.
Yeah, Yalla Bingo does find some very key trades right there, getting a knockout on that Aegislash, and now kind of evening things up in the XP gauge across the board. But this Absol is still so out of control in comparison to its bot lane attacker counterpart. That is going to be a kill that Sixes will find that'll finally get them some scaling, possibly allow Yalla Bingo to push this tier 1. But Absol up in the top lane, solo rips that Regieleki, so possibly looking to get into tier 2 score before Yalla Bingo can get back.
Oh my gosh, that is going to be huge to get 47 points plus another 20 as well. Yalla Bingo are aware of this with 40 seconds left to go until the final stretch. This is a really risky maneuver. However, the Mystical Fire was able to stop a few dunks. We have Blissey and Absol along with the Aegis Slash to go and stop any further dunks from going on in. And this is a really intense fight. So close to that final stretch. Yalla Bingo are needing to retreat. They do not want to get KO'd right now. Instead, oh, we have a Reggie Steal that they're looking to shred on down.
Yeah, Yalla Bingo is going to be able to take that Registeel as compensation for that failed tier 2 push. Utilizing the Gatling Gulp missile did allow them to get the lead going into this Rayquaza fight, but they are down a critical Unite move that will allow them to team fight against Anteiku. And Absol and the rest of Anteiku already just completely 100% gas. All Unite moves are ready to go. It's just going to be whoever pulls the trigger first.
Oh, well, that's the thing. It's a shutdown potential between these two teams. Who is the Slowbro going to end up slow beaming? Umbreon diving on deep onto that sword, trying to get the stun. However, they end up getting taken down mid-air. Slow beam onto the Eldegoss, I believe. And now two members of Yalla Bingo are down. And Teku have the advantage here. It's just a matter of whether they're going to be able to clean up the rest of the pieces. No, they are not. As four members are down. And Absol is needing to retreat because they're at such minimal HP. 4 KO streak for Potato Uwu just there, and Yalla Bingo are able to secure them shields, just taking away one of the chances for Anteiku to make a comeback. But there's still a minute left on the clock, whether they're going to be able to break some shields, but they are just too hefty right now, Ribbon.
Yeah, headed by 150 is a pretty solid place to be right now. Yalla Bingo got their Eldegoss Slowbro united, which did not allow them to heal up the rest of the roster. Cramorant falling right there. But Potato thankfully clutches and cleans up all the damage that the rest of his teammates were able to drop, and cleans up every single member of Anteiku with every single Shadow Slick toss. It's going to be really close, and Turtle's going to have to pop that Eldegoss Unite to try to stop multiple scores here. It's a race to get something in here on both sides of the map.
Oh.
They do go down. This is going to be really close. That's going to be enough. Oh my god, it's 4 points! It's 4 points! There's the score on top of the Slowbro 2 mattered absolutely. Oh. Anteiku was absolutely stolen this game away, and he's just getting an additional 12 for insult to injury. And with 12 seconds on the clock, Anteiku takes the game back.
Oh my goodness, that is an insane turnaround from Anteiku. Such grit and a great performance to just push on fourth, even though they were the ones on the back foot. They didn't even get the Rayquaza, but I guess Yalla Bingo, they were only able to get in 100 dunk into that top path, considering the shield ended up getting broken. I believe it was 60 who pushed on fourth on the Kramer, and their shield ended up getting broken, so they didn't actually get to dunk in the home base. But what an exciting turn of events!
Yeah, I guess Yalla Bingo just thought they would be okay with that one score and that they would be able to hold the gates, but Anteiku splits up perfectly, sending 3 members down into that bottom side, and the Eldegoss just gets blown up instantly by that Absol. And Anteku's just able to get those 2 dunks in and just make just enough points for that on that double cap to really make it matter. Whew!
Yeah, that's actually insane. And I guess, they
Wow.
didn't have the full points there. It was what, 30 and 20 something, but yeah, double points, 16 points difference at the end. And,
That's
this
crazy.
is the thing. These teams, once again, just demonstrating how close in skill that they are to each other. Like, look at this graph. It is neck and neck, that whole match. A Reggie Alecki going to either side, a basement Reggie going to either side as well, bar that last Reggie Steele going over to the side of Yalla Bingo and the Rayquaza. But, even with those final 2 objectives secured by them, and Teku being able to just take the lead was wild.
Yeah, this is going to be a game to absolutely watch, because when scores get this close, it's just a game of numbers. We saw so many times during especially the early game of that match that Yalla Bingo and Anteiku were trading on both sides of the map. Potato was pushing in that Regieleki on the tier 2, while multiple members of Anteiku were placing on the bottom side. They both got scores.
Mm.
Yalla Bingo making that big push at 3 minutes on that bottom tier 2 to get one dunk. What if one more dunk went in? Like, there's so many things that could have gone differently in that game. Whew.
Uh,
Uh, every
this
game
is this
going to game 3. Games this close. Welcome to Unity Clash Day 2, everybody. Wow.
I guess this is the brilliance of Pokemon Unite and why we love it so much is because it's the excitement and the unexpected things that these teams are just able to bring on out. It is super duper entertaining to watch. Oh well, I
Wow,
mean,
what a game, Kello. What a one. Let's bring up these stats really quick. I'll just like on ourselves. Potato dropping 96K on that Mimikyu. Anysus and Aura almost dropping 70K on their own. A lot more of the damage is more rounded on the side of Inteku, whereas Potato, whew, putting in those big numbers. 60 also putting in a really great game on that Cramorant. It's a very interesting decision right there on the side of Yalla Bingo to pop that 3 minute unite down over on that tier 2, because I feel like if you play that situation over like 10 times, right? That second score that was about to go in before the Umbreon and the Absol came back on the pad, I
mhm.
feel like that goes in a little bit more like so I really appreciate like teams that take risks like that, because it's you think that 3 minute uniting is just this terrible thing that you should never do, but I really do love it when teams really try to flip the script and try to catch teams off guard and be creative. So I think that was a really great call for Yellow Bingo, even though it did not work out. I feel like they just got the bad end of the stick right there, especially in a game as close as this.
You know, after all, there's only one team that can win a match there. And the fact that it was just neck and neck during that graph, Potato Uwu being able to pick up themselves a 4 KO streak, but Anisas also picked up the 4 KO streak of themselves. It was just very backwards and forth between these teams. And even if one team seemed to fall behind, I think it's that ability to analyze and then make a comeback and then just go and match their opponents once again and get the traded KOs here and there to just keep it balanced across the board. But I guess going into this next match, I don't really think any of the teams really need to change any of their team compositions. I think they all worked really well together. It's just those decisions that happen in game, which I guess can change the tide.
Yeah, I feel like that end game situation right there was almost just a string of forced errors right there from Yalla Bingo. They were able to team fight even without that
Mm.
Cramorant unite and still take down that Rayquaza. Is just an unfortunate assignment of characters. They really just had to make a call, and they ended up sending their defender top. So I feel like Yalla Bingo should be perfectly comfy in this 0-1 comfort zone that they're facing right now. Bans changed up a little bit though. Yalla Bingo has taken Slowbro off the table.
Yes, I guess it's just the shutdown potential that Slowbro provides, but also the fact that it can just tank so much damage as well, tanking 80k damage. So highest damage taken in that last round. You want to try and get rid of it, but Potato Uwu, they played an incredible Mimikyu game last round, so it doesn't surprise me that they have decided to lock in this character once again.
Yeah, Mimikyu does just great on its own. Whatever moveset it decides to go for, whether it decides to go for the Shadow Sneak or the Play Rough. But the best part about
Mm.
picking it early in draft is that it can be really synergized around a bunch of other picks. And Teku has locked in a very solid core of this Trevenant and this Ablissey, probably looking for a Hyper Carry to pick later on. But Yalla Bingo's looking for this early game right now, locking in a Buzzwole and looking for Umbreon as well to pivot around.
This is really interesting to see the two all rounders on the side of Yalla Bingo. The fact that they're two melee characters as well, so it'll be really interesting to see what they actually end up picking as their ranged attacker in the backline. Considering they have the Umbreon on their side, oh, it looks like Lunda is looking to secure that Chandelure. So a really great choice here, especially the Imprisoner moveset as you have a Trevenant or a Blastoise running at you. So the potential to shut them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chandelure is going to love breaking open these tanks here in this Buzzwole and this Trevenant with whatever it decides to go with, whether it decides to go with Overheat or the Flamethrower moveset.
Mm.
It's going to be interesting to see how Yalla Bingo does get down on this Cramorant in this backline because it's going to have plenty of coverage, and this Glaceon as well is going to be pretty pocketed. So Yalla Bingo, once again, we saw how well they reached with the Mimikyu in that last game and got reset after reset at that Rayquaza fight. So we'll see if they can. I'm pretty sure and confident they can do it again, but they're going to be looking at some much more tankier targets to get around. Also, that have CC as well, and that does many.
I realize is there's actually no Sylveon being picked up at all in sight this round. Sylveon seems to be the preferred evolution as of the current meta. So Aura picking up Glaceon here. I'm really excited to see how they are able to utilize it. It does have that Curse Incense on board, so that does have big potential to shut down the sustainability of Mimikyu with its Shadow Claw, and even that Buzzwole as well. So I'm wondering, yeah, what the purpose of the Glaceon plays. I don't know. What are your thoughts in terms? We'll talk about it in a bit as we do head on into game two. But yeah, in the future, I love to know what your thoughts are on Glaceon. But Yalla Bingo on your purple side and Teku on the orange side. Once again, Buzzwole, Gossifleur heading up into the top path. Umbreon and Litwick down in that bottom path for Yalla Bingo.
Yeah, I think the Glaceon is probably looking maybe more of just a comfort pick. I think Glaceon does really fine here, especially if it maybe looks for an Icy Wind moveset. Can really try to keep a lot of these all-rounders and that Chandelure at bay while still providing a lot of damage output. They're going to go for that early gank up in the top side. Trevenant looking for a little cheeky invade, but is going to get spooked away by Sixies.
You know what this reminds me of is just the backwards and forwards when you're going on a street into somebody trying to make the move. Do you go left? Do you go right? Sixie's not sure what to do, trying to wait for their team to go and take that red buff for themselves. I'm unsure whether Potato was able to secure that red buff away from that Phantom. Now reaching that level 4 steal because of the experience share that it does have on hand. But 3 members into 2 up in that top path and the complete opposite down in the bottom path. Yalla Bingo are looking to take the advantage here despite the slow beginning in that central area. And it was, Phantom took the blue buff away.
Yeah, Phantom did steal it, and it does look like Anteiku is honestly paying for it, though, allowing this Candle in this bot lane to scale perfectly into level 5. Yalla Bingo also possibly looking to make more pressure, and they're going to need to get Potato to score here so that way they can start stacking on this Buzzwole. It does look like the Blissey is going to go trade some stacks in return, but the Umbreon does find the Cramorant in the bottom side.
Yeah, and it looks like Sixes is able to get in some little dunks of their own, able to pump up the attack weight stacks. But Aura, the lone evolution in that central area, able to feed on all of the experience from the Swablues and Altaria to themselves. However, we do have the Flame... No, it is the Overheat moveset for Lunda on the Lampet, who is now a Chandelure.
Yeah, that Overheat's going to do really big damage to this Anteiku front line, and it's going to be pretty easy to kind of kite along with it, especially when you've got tanks like Trevenant and Blastoise that are definitely going to want to run into you. So Yalla Bingo pretty much scaling for not a lot of effort in this bottom side. Already almost level 8 on this Chandelure, and Potato also level 8 on top as well. Yalla Bingo is taking this early game by storm, Kello.
Yes, 108 to 21. We do have those objectives spawning in about 5 seconds. However, looks like we have Anteiku all down here in that bottom path, bar that War Turtle, who is going to head back into the top path up against the Buzzwole, who is looking to get in some attack weight stacks. Yalla Bingo leashing it over to their side, but Registeel is going to go in for a bit of a reset as they are going to brawl it on out. Trevenant doing a great job of zoning them out, but they ended up getting cut on down, and Registeel is going to go over to the side of Anteiku after all of that.
Yeah, Teku getting the secure, but paying for it with their entire team taking the trip back to the Pokemon Center. So only really the XP that they're going to be able to get out of that, but Yalla Bingo collects even more experience on that bottom side. Teku just really only delaying the inevitable here, and not allowing Yalla Bingo to secure that Registeel in the bottom side. And trying to collect some farms to get some Unites before this Regieleki comes pushing down in this top side.
This is huge. Yalla Bingo picking up a Regieleki and looking at the point advantage that they have currently. There is no jump pads, so we are going to have Potato Uwu diving on in, trying to grab them. However, they end up getting dragged and pushed up against the wall, KO down. So, you know, one member down for the side of Yalla Bingo. Are they going to able to continue the pressure as Regieleki is getting shredded on down by the Icicle Shards? Hydro Typhoon does end up coming on out to try and stun the opponents, but I believe it was the Snarl, which meant Marv actually didn't get hindered by that.
Yeah, Yalla Bingo playing really conservatively right there, just getting picks on Anteiku as they try to walk up into that engagement. A lot of Unites being popped as well, but Anteiku just doesn't really seem to get any value out of it. Still struggling to try to find some levels here into multiple fed carries on the side of Yalla Bingo. This Mimikyu already level 11. This Buzzwole almost looking for level 11 and still has not used that Super Swole Slam yet. So Yalla Bingo could really keep the pressure up. They just have to play this nice and slow.
Well, nice and slow, I don't think is the play, considering we are at the halfway mark. 10 seconds left to go until a basement Reggie. However, none of the members are down, ready for that positioning. It looks like Anteiku have a different thing on their mind, being that top tier 1 pad. But Yalla Bingo are aware of this, lurking in that tall grass, waiting for that ambush to occur.
Yeah, it seems like Yalla Bingo is just trying to match Anteku's freak a little bit here as they try to make a sneaky push on that tier 1, but Blastoise super spin is just gonna be catching nothing but air. That's a Cowabunga right there. Anteiku is gonna take this opportunity to try to turn the numbers in this bottom side with that Cramorant Unite. They're gonna lock down this Regice and try to clean up some kills here on Yalla Bingo, but there's gonna be some scores and more pressure from Yalla Bingo up on the tier 2 as well.
Oh, I must say, Gohan did a fantastic job on that Trevenant. Phantom Forest to go and knock up 3 members with Yalla Bingo. That way, they allow the rest of their members to secure down that Regice. However, they do end up succumbing to the Shadow Claw of that Mimikyu. 2 members of Anteiku are down. It looks like Glaceon and the Blastoise are really trying to fight on back. But Blastoise, they're not going to be able to make it on out unscathed. But they were able to save that Glaceon from doom there.
Yeah, Yalla Bingo has really just had Anteku's number this entire 7 minutes. Multiple carries already, still just plenty ahead of the side of Anteiku. It's going to be just a wait game for Ray to try to find some sort of value here. Trevenant should have his passive backup. That's going to be really pivotal in trying to get on top of the Chandelure because it is firing for absolute free 99. But speaking of free, Potato might be doing some free labor up on this top side, getting caught out, and that's going to allow Anteiku some free access to that Regieleki in the top side and hopefully find a push.
That was really interesting that we had El Primo Pro utilize their Cramorant Unite move. That way, to make sure that they secure that Regieleki. The thing is, I'm unsure whether they're going to be able to get it back in time before the final stretch, as they do look to be marching on down towards that tier 1 pad, looking to break it before that final stretch, and they do, but I think it was a clear break. I don't think they ended up getting an overdunk. I'm not too sure, Ribbon.
No, it looked like a pretty solid, like, I would say around 20 to 30 point overcap with that little shred. It looked like, I think, but still points on the board there for Anteiku, but still down a lot. Anteiku is gonna really need to find some sort of security here. Thankfully, dying right there with the Glaceon is gonna allow them
Oh,
to reset, but already buried in the back line. Yalla Bingo tried to reach in. They have this isolated potato off, and that's going to allow Mimikyu to have to burn that play with me. They're going to buster on the Blissey before that Bliss assist goes down. Blastoise Super Soul spinning, just trying to get something. Unite a galore everywhere right now from both sides. But Yalla Bingo looks like to be walking away without a single knockout.
no, no knockouts on either side. We still have that Cramorant Unite move on hand. However, the Chandelure has been taken down. Rayquaza is at a quarter HP. Glaceon in that backline just trying to lock it on down. Can they get the last hit? Cramorant ends up locking it down for Anteiku. They are the ones that are behind in point score. Shields in hand. 4 members are down. It's only the Mimikyu remaining, which means Yalla Bingo are going to wave themselves that white flag and have a surrender. Wait, is that a round? Yes, we have a
That's
round
it.
3 once again.
Wow. Wait. Well,
Yeah,
no.
because of the surrender. Remember, you look a bit
Yeah,
confused.
I am. I do look a
They
bit confused, but no,
surrendered.
they did surrender. But wow, I was just surprised that Infector was just able to rip that Rayquaza so fast and really just get in the way of Yalla Bingo. They split the fight, got the Buzzwole and the Mimikyu separated, made them blow their cooldowns, and then were able to just pressure the cooldown, just pressure the advantage, right?
Me,
So
I'm
it's
the one flagging
yeah, it's
behind.
okay, Kel.
I have
It's
just
okay,
smashing
Kel.
the
You're good.
loading screen about
You're good.
Anteiku
Yeah,
won
and
round one.
And Teku won that game. So
So it's not a
that's
round
a
3,
2-0.
folks.
Yeah,
Not a
no,
round
yeah,
3.
no,
6
no, no.
a.m. in the morning.
False,
Forgive
false
me.
alarm, false alarm. Yeah, no, Kello, you're fine. Oh my gosh, I love you. But yeah, Teku just cleans a 2-0 right there out of Yalla Bingo.
Yeah.
With some miracle team fighting at Rayquaza. What a game! What a set!
Oh, yeah, that was actually insane. I mean, looking at the damage across the board, Yalla Bingo, they actually did fight hard that round. But it just came down to that Rayquaza. Lunda being able to pick up 82k damage on that Chandelure. But yeah, it's the shred. And I guess this is probably the benefit that Glaceon does have. You did see Aura around that top side of that Rayquaza, just chipping away, getting their stacks in before letting loose with their icicle shards. I mean, in the end, it ended up being El Premio Promo, the Cremorant, that did secure it for Anteiku there. But I guess that's the thing. They do say when there's a ray, there's a way, and Anteiku definitely demonstrated that.
Yeah, just perfectly splitting up Yalla Bingo and really just pouncing on that Buzzwole and that Mimikyu, really just forced them to set back. And I don't think Yalla Bingo was honestly expecting Inteku to rip right there. I think they were expecting a reset, considering that no Pokemon were knocked out like in the Pokemon Center, right? But the fact that they got that Buzzwole and that Mimikyu so low and they had to blow so many cooldowns just to be able to get out of that. Really the only hope that Yalla Bingo had once that Rayquaza started flipping was that Chandelure. So the double defender just has a really easy job of locking that Chandelure away from the Rayquaza while their DPS just takes the Ray. And landing a great secure on that Cramorant, that I really just think and Teku just really caught Yalla Bingo off guard. Just
Yeah,
great play all around.